Hello fellow builders from all around the world, Mr. Brick Artist here with an episode in which we are going to learn how to use Studio, the LEGO model and instruction designing program supplied to us by Bricklink. We will build a Vic Viper from scratch, then compose the instructions so that we can export it as a PDF. This will teach you how to use most of the critical functions to produce professional results for your MOCs. Here is the Studio interface. Parts are sorted by category in the topmost left panel. We are currently in the plates category. Below the category panel is the parts bin. From this bin, I will click on the 1x6 plate icon and drag it onto the canvas. You can rotate the part while it is selected by pressing the arrow keys. Rotation is dependent on your current viewport camera orientation. You can rotate the viewport camera by right-clicking into the viewport and dragging the mouse. Let's pull out a 1x8 plate out of the bin for a good measure. Going to the slope curved category to grab a 1x2, put it right on top of the 1x6 to snap it into place. Take another one out, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V to copy and paste. Rotate the piece with the arrow keys, click and drag to select both slopes and move them over to the 1x6 plate. With both of the slopes still selected, let's move on over to the color palette and pick a color suitable for the canopy. Warning indicators in the step list. It's saying that the color that I picked is not officially made by LEGO in this particular part, so we'll have to use the color validator to fix that. We'll use the autofix function to bring ourselves to the closest available color. Since it's a bit too brown, I'll go back into the color palette and choose a shade of orange. Let's go back into the plates category and grab a 1x2 so that we can put it underneath the canopy slopes to complete the form. All colors that are currently being used in the model are conveniently placed in the Content Colors palette, which you can use to colorize the parts quickly. In this case, the new 1x2 plate will become orange. Clicking on the swatch will apply the color to all selected parts. As I suspected, the 1x6 plate is not long enough, so we'll delete it and use the 1x8 instead. Let's try out some slopes to create the tail end. Just dragging them out as usual and placing them on the 1x8 plate. Copy paste to quickly put one on top of the other. Now I will use the search function in the left panel to find brackets by typing BRA, bra. Let's put a 1x1 bottom hanging bracket beneath the tail end. Before that, we're going to need two 1x1 plates placed beneath first. Now we can put you there. Grab an inverted curved slope to secure the bracket to the bottom plate. Get a cone and put it on the bracket to represent the vernier. Set the color to light bluish gray. Try out this 2x3 plate to provide a foundation for the front end. Search for wedge plate to find some parts to add angularity. Copy paste some slope curves from the ship nose to secure the wedge plates. Copy paste the 2x3 plate to extend the foundation. Drag out two 1x8 plates to create the front end. Grab two 1x8 tiles to secure and style the front end. Add two 1x1 plates to the tips. Select the plates beneath and recolor them to dark bluish gray. Do the same with both 2x3 foundation plates. Get two 1x6 plates from the bin to establish the wings. Copy paste two curved slopes to stylize the body a little more. Secure the wings from beneath the ship by adding two L-shaped plates. Copy paste four inverted curved slopes to secure the L-shaped plates. Paste just one more to shape the bottom of the nose. Sandwich a 1x3 plate between the slope and the ship underside. Change its color to dark bluish gray. Copy paste a 1x6 plate from the wing to secure the whole bottom side. Change the colors of a few parts to dark bluish gray. Add two 1x1 round plates to stabilize the ship's bottom for balanced placement on a surface. Change the color to dark bluish gray. Change of plans, we are going to delete the supporting L-shaped plates. Select the part in question and press the delete key. And now we'll fill those holes up with two 2x3 plates instead. Secure and stylize the wings a little bit more with two copy-pasted curved slopes. We're going to select these two slopes and press L to temporarily hide them so that we can analyze the model's stability. In the top right hand side of the viewport, you can click on Show All to reveal all hidden parts. Now let's copy paste two round plates to make some lights in the wings, coloring them trans light blue. Copy paste another round plate to make vernier fire, coloring it trans neon orange. So the round plate with a hole in it is not molded in that color, so we will grab a round plate without a hole from the bin and replace it. Let's get some wedge plates to shape the wings a little bit more. Deleting a few parts on the wings to rethink the design. Deleting the 1x6 plates of the wings and shifting the wedges to further change the design. Deleting parts from the bottom side to reconsider foundational stability. Recoloring bottom side parts to dark bluish gray as needed, and restructuring with two 1x4 plates and a 1x5 plate. This pretty much sums up the building process. Rinse and repeat all of these techniques and we will arrive at the final model. We are now ready to start the step making process. Click Instructions on the toolbar to open up the Steps dialog. The viewport behaves similarly, no need to worry. Let's click to select a part on the underside and hit the Step Before button. This will create a new step and put the selected parts into that step. All of the remaining pieces now reside in Step 2. Now let's select another part and hit the Step Before button again. This will create another step before the one we're currently in. In the Steps panel, if we click on 2, it will show the part that we just moved, being the lonesome L-shaped plate. As a study, let's move the lonesome L into the step above it by clicking the trash can. This will delete the step in question and move the part up into the previous step. Now we only have 2 steps again. Now we have 3 parts in Step 1. I guess we moved 2 parts a while back on accident. Now let's select the inverted slope and hit the Step After button. This will create a step after the one we're in and move the selected parts into it. Now the slope is alone in Step 2. Let's go to Step 1, select the L plate and hit the Step After button again. This will put the L plate into Step 2 and push the slope up into Step 3. See how this is working? Moving on down to the last step where all of our unorganized parts are, we shall grab one of the dark bluish gray plates and hit Step Before to make a new step for it. We'll go back to our pile and do the same thing to a 2x3 plate. Back to the pile again. Let's grab the other 2x3 plate and drag it into the previous step to see if we can land 2 parts at once in a single step. Go there to see the results. Well, it looks like it's floating in midair, so that's not what we want. So we'll just drag it back into the last step. Head back to the pile and try to move this 1x3 plate instead. Looks quite good. 2 birds, 1 stone, aka 2 parts, 1 step. Grab this white 2x3 and make a Step Before. Everything is stacking in proper sequence. Now to move this 1x1 plate to see if it works in 2s. Looks okay. Now for the other white foundation plate. So the pairing of the white plates look okay, but the 1x1 plate looks too hidden, so we'll drag it back into the pile. We'll grab 2 plates and make a new step to see how that goes. They're both resting beneath the 2 white plates, so that's an okay. Let's get a little adventurous and try to make a new step for 3 parts. So far, so good. Let's drag that old 1x1 plate back as well to see if it has a home. Sure does. That's now 4 parts in a single step. How about 4 of these inverted slopes and a round plate? Put these in a Step Before. Looks like 5 in 1 works. Now for 2 of these 2x2s, you both deserve a new step. The problem that we have now is that the brackets that should be above these plates are in the wrong order. So we shall grab them and move them into the step with the 5 parts to see if we can push that up to 7. Looks like we win. Alright, well, most of these parts should be without issue. It is only difficult when there are so many parts stacked that you cannot see the proper order. But all is well, so let's wrap this up and start composing the pages, shall we? Actually, there are 2 more things that we need to do before that. Let's grab this round plate and cone to make a Step Before with them. Now let's go to that new step and select the parts again. With the part selected, click Create a Submodel. Now that the parts are joined together, click View Steps. Now we are inside the submodel construction with its own unique set of steps. Click on the cone and hit Step Before. This creates a step sequence just like how the main parent model would. And we are done here, so click Return to Parent in order to do just that. That was fun, right? So let's do one more. Let's make another submodel with 3 parts as an assembly. Select the 2 plates and the slope, then click Create a Submodel. Make a Step Before with the newly created submodel. Go to that step, click Select the submodel, then click View Steps to start editing. Start from the bottom. Throw each part into a Step Before, one at a time. Finished! Now return to Parent and wrap the rest of it up. Okay, now click on Page Design to start the formatting. We will immediately click Global Style to the right here for page color and highlighting. We will make the background fill a sky blue color, then change the part highlight to green. So immediately we want multiple steps on a single page. Click on Change Layout in the top middle toolbar. Let's try 3 columns. Click Apply. Looks okay, although we can possibly do 4 steps on a page. Yes, this is good. Click on the page of step 1. The page, not the part. With the page selected, click on Change Step View in the right panel over here. In the scale value text box, type 75, then hit enter. This will alter the size of the parts on the page. It will also do it for every part after the one we just did, as long as those steps do not already have their own custom scaling. We can hold Control, then click on a part to move it around on the page until it's where it needs to be. The reason for holding Control is for removing the snapping functionality, which makes it easier for the part to be wherever you want it. By clicking on the page and accessing the View Change panel again, we can rotate the model into the orientation of our liking, in this case pointing to the right diagonally instead of the left. This will cause a little bit of shifting, forcing us to move the parts back into a better position. And that very much concludes page 1. Let's move on to 2. Click on Change Layout and let's try 4 panels. Well, it seems like step 7 is a bit cramped with the parts list in the way, so we'll go with 3 instead. Much better. I'll take this then. Trying to get the active parts in frame as much as possible so that we don't have to scale the parts down any further. Alright then, on to page 4. The model is looking rather large. Let's go with 2 steps on a page. Control drag to move them into place. Next pocket. Doing 2 again, move them down. Okay, next page. Doing 2 steps again here. What we have here in step 16 is our submodel with the round plate fire and cone vernier. We do not want the steps to be scattered across the pages. Instead, we want a callout. Click on the page, and with that now selected, hit Convert to Callout in the right panel. This will condense all of the submodel steps into a little window that can now be dragged around in step 16. Move everything into frame like usual. We're going to get a little bit greedy here, although it will also see how much we can push the composition, because we know that step 17 is also going to have a submodel. Let's see if we can fit all of this into 3 columns. Let's take the submodel and convert it into a callout as well. It really does look like everything is going to fit. Move everything into place with Control drag. We can shift the location of the callout's arrow by clicking on it and manipulating the 2 handles. Move the callout and the model into position in step 17. Okay, next page. Try 3, will that work? Not really. 2 it is. Move everything into frame with Control drag. Step 19 is a special case. There are 2 issues with it. The first is that the angle isn't complementary enough for the visibility of the parts, and the second is that Studio automatically rescaled the model smaller because it assumed that we wanted the whole thing to fit into the frame. To fix these things, click on Step 19's page window, and with that selected, click Change Step View. In the Camera Setup panel, click Custom. Now in the X value text box, type -45 and hit Enter. This will give us a more overhead view of the model, making the parts more legible. In the Scale Value text box, type 85 and hit Enter. This will scale the model a little larger than usual, showing us the needed details of the many parts in the step. On to the last page. We're going to move everything into frame and rescale the models, and that should be it. Perhaps we'll alter the camera setup for step 21 so that we can see the inverted slope underneath. Click on the page, and with that selected, click Change Step View. In the Camera Setup panel, click Custom. Now in the X value text box, type 45 and hit Enter. Now all we have to do is Control drag it into place to conclude the mission. What we can do before exporting is create a bill of materials. In the left panel at the top, click the new page icon. While in the empty page, click Insert on the middle toolbar, then choose Bill of Materials. Everything seems a little bit cramped, so click on the Bill of Materials, and in the panel to the right, move down to Spacing and type the value 0.25 into both text boxes. This will add a little padding to all of the parts. With that done, all the way to the top right, click Export so we can finish this up. We will do all pages in PDF format, make the size 2x so that the steps are rendered in high enough resolution to prevent noticeable compression artifacts, and then choose the file path. Click Export to complete the process. File saved. We'll now go to the folder and open the PDF to proofread all of the steps to ensure that we did not do anything in the wrong order or have any unseeable parts due to poor camera angles. Noticeable in steps 8, 9, and 10 is that we should probably be looking at the model from the bottom side. Back in the Page Designer, we'll make a custom angle of 45 degrees to fix that, and then revert the angles of the later steps back to normal. We will also use the insert dialog to add a flip notification to the steps which initially flipped the model. Any pages ahead, we may have to move the model back into frame due to the angle shift of the previous steps. Now we can re-export and replace the old PDF file. Refresh the PDF document to see our updates. It all looks okay. And that is everything for today's lesson on how to use Studio. This should be plenty enough to make your LEGO instructions completely serviceable to the community. There were a bunch of functions that we never got a chance to inspect in the lesson, although I believe that with enough tinkering on your own, it'll be pretty easy to figure it all out. For the instructions PDF that was created from this project, you can download it for free at rebrickable.com by visiting the link provided in the video's description. Aside from that, you can also visit Rebrickable for instant inspiration by browsing free as well as premium models to see if you find something you fancy enough to build. Read very detailed reviews written by the site administrators, and view posted photos of completed builds made by community builders for community-made models. As for Mr. Brick Artist, be on the lookout for premium instruction releases over time through our multi-collection series as well as MOC Originals series, which will both be dutifully balanced over time and maintain the same level of integrity in production as ever. We take having fun very seriously, just like the fun that we have in learning as well. If you felt as if we have brought you a level of understanding which you find valuable enough to certify a donation, this is possible through PayPal and the link provided in the video description. And that will be the end of the video. Thanks for tuning in as usual, happy building, and we will see you next time.